You're watching The 7 from WATE 6 on your side.
Good evening, I'm Bo Williams, and welcome to The 7. Let's get a look at the Big 7 stories. The biggest tonight, one school after another falling to the flu or whatever it is that's going around right now. We've watched the list grow and grow today. Here's where it stands right now. Anderson County Schools, Blount County Schools, Campbell, Koch, and Union County Schools all closed tomorrow and Monday. Remember, we keep the list constantly updated for you at WATE.com, and it is scrolling at the bottom of your screen, so you can continue to watch it there and get the very latest. Now, what we've been hearing from those school systems, lots of staffers are sick, and districts are having trouble finding people to cover those classes. Next now on the Big 7 list, a showdown over drag shows. Knox Pride, the group behind PrideFest, says it will cancel the event if the anti-drag show bill in Tennessee's legislature becomes law. That measure passed in the state Senate today. It tightens the law on what the state considers cabaret performers under the state obscenity law. The aim is to keep children from seeing those performances. John Camp, CEO of Knox Pride, says doing so could make PrideFest and the City Pride Parade illegal. He calls it a direct attack on the LGBTQIA+ community, as it would take effect just 8 weeks before the start of Pride Month.
We're not surprised that it passed. We're kind of saddened. It doesn't make a lot of sense that this is such an issue or has to be such a top issue for so many people. It doesn't make a lot of sense. So we're kind of dumbfounded right now that this is something that we are wasting time, energy, and taxpayer money on.
One sponsor has defended the bill as grossly mischaracterized, saying it only deals with sexually explicit entertainment. Now, the measure still faces debate and votes in the Tennessee House. Then it would go to Governor Lee's desk if it passes. Our next Big 7 story for you, a new future for a school that's sat empty for decades. Built in 1930, Galbraith School in South Knoxville has been sitting vacant since the late 70s. A redevelopment plan went before the Knox County Planning Commission at its meeting today. If fully approved, it would be home to 75 multi-use apartments. One potential selling point here, it is within walking distance of South Doyle Middle. Also, developers argue that going ahead with the plan has strong support from people living in the area who remember the building's history.
There's some architectural significance with the architects that worked on it originally, and then also just there's actually members of the community here today that have told us about when they were kids and they went to school there. So that's really exciting to see, and a lot of people have been kind of wanting to see it get new life.
Developers are also pitching amenities like a community garden and a buffer between existing homes. Some concerns have been raised, with some neighbors citing extra traffic, putting stress on the current roads. The Planning Commission approved the plan with one change to the amount of metal siding used on the outside of the building. There is no timetable, by the way, for construction on the project to start. Our next Big 7 story, a Knoxville man accused of selling parts to turn semi-automatic pistols into machine guns. At the center of this ATF investigation, Derek Blaylock. Now, an undercover agent claiming in court paperwork that he bought devices commonly referred to as a Glock switch or Glock auto sear. They're illegal without a federal permit. Now, records show Blaylock was arrested by UT police after wrecking his car with his girlfriend and a 1-year-old child inside. Well, our next big story for you, following up on the arson investigation out of Loudoun County for you. Now, the sheriff's office telling us today tips have started coming into the TBI arson hotline after 2 barns in Lenior City burned. A detective with the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office telling us that it has now been made aware of the arrest of a suspected arsonist in the nearby Madisonville community. At midday, we told you Christopher Fordham was found near a fire that sparked at the old Walmart building on Highway 411 in Madisonville overnight. Madisonville police saying an investigation found that Fordham started the fire intentionally, and officers add this was the second fire he intentionally set to a Madisonville business over the past year. However, we should note here that the Loudoun County Sheriff's Office tells us Fordham was not on its list of suspects for the Lenior City barn fires prior to his arrest. A man has now been found guilty of second-degree murder after a woman was shot while she was driving in North Knoxville. That woman, 38-year-old Tamara Lynn Russell, later died. Paul Foutner is accused of shooting her back in February of 2021. Russell then crashed into a building. She was taken to the hospital but did not survive. At the time, KPD reported that a Knox County school bus serving Christenberry Elementary was also hit by a bullet during the shooting. We're told 3 people, including a student, were on board at the time, but police say no one on the bus was hurt. Foutner, by the way, is set to be sentenced March 31st. Knoxville police arresting a man in connection with what they are calling a spree of car burglaries. 21-year-old Deon Wells is accused of breaking into cars, taking debit, credit, and gift cards, and then using them at stores. According to an arrest report, police think Wells got into parked cars on at least 2 occasions this month. Records show he's charged with burglary, identity theft, and fraudulent use of a credit card. Wells was already a wanted man facing a warrant out of Columbus, Ohio, where he had been accused of aggravated burglary, kidnapping, and aggravated robbery. We are wrapping up our Big 7 list for you with the weather. Breezy, gusty, really windy, as you know, all day. You know, we heard the howl outside and saw the tree limbs blowing well, with even those winds, it's not like there was a chill in the air as our February continued to feel more like March or April, maybe even early May. That wind also causing a bit of damage. Our crew found utility crews dealing with a snap pole on Keener Road across the area. We've seen power outages in Sevier County. The Emergency Management Agency said that some areas would not issue burn permits again for the 2nd day, and some roads were closed up in the Great Smoky Mountains National Park. But just in the last 30 minutes, we have learned that Highway 441, that's Newfound Gap Road from Gatlinburg to Cherokee, is open again. So let's head it over to Storm Chief Meteorologist Ken Weathers. He's got all the latest on the wind and whatever else is in store for us, Ken.
Very strong winds today, Bo. Made it up to 70 degrees. Not bad for early February. We'll take it, but there is a little bit of a reminder, especially later in the weekend, that, yeah, it is still February. All right, let's talk about wind. It's starting to relax some areas. Still pretty gusty, especially higher elevations of the Smokies and across the plateau, but at least some single-digit wind speeds up there, and that will continue as we go over the next couple of hours, slowly seeing the winds relax. Still mild, though. 64 Knoxville, 58 Crossville, 66 in Newport. I saw Gatlinburg as warm as 75 degrees today. Lows tonight, mid to upper 30s for the plateau, up through Kentucky and Virginia, and low 40s everywhere else, including 41 Newport, Gatlinburg, and 42 in Maryville. Then high temperatures tomorrow, cooler than today, obviously. We have a north to northeast wind, so we're talking low to mid 50s, a little bit more in the way of cloud cover as well. Not as windy, so I would say just keep a jacket handy. Now, we're talking about slim rain chances Saturday. It's a little more likely Saturday afternoon, and then becoming likely Saturday night into Sunday, but there'll be a bit of a wintry mix with this as well. So we're going from rumors flying on the internet to, yeah, it's possible that some areas will be seeing some snow across the region, but keep in mind, temperatures have been mild and will stay relatively mild as we go into the weekend.